Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. Today I wanted to share with you the really big changes that are coming to our homeschool for 2023 and 2024. So yesterday, I think, or actually no, maybe today, I just finished planning out an entire homeschool year, which really isn't anything close to how I normally do things. And I'm going to tell you why. This year, we are actually adding a new homeschool student to our routine. As most of you know, my daughter is getting married in July, and her fiance's sister will be getting homeschooled by my daughter, actually, the one who's getting married. Kaylin is going to homeschool her for like language arts and math, and then we are all going to come together every afternoon to do the rest of our activities together. And we're so excited about this. And I think that it's really going to breathe new life into our homeschool because she has never been homeschooled before. She is so excited because she knows that we go out hiking all the time and out to the creeks. And she's just like my children. She loves to be outside. So this is going to be a really good thing for everyone involved. Now, I do have to say that now that I am going to be helping to homeschool a child who is not my own, I do feel like we need to add a bit more. I don't want to say structure because we're not really going to be doing things differently, but I think what it was before was that if something got in the way of our homeschool day before, I would just say, "Oh, that's all right. We'll catch up with that later." But now that I'm going to be having someone else who is not my child in our homeschool, I feel like I need to be more responsible about making sure that we at least try to stick to some sort of plan. Hence my year-long homeschool plan that I just came up with. I know. So when we start homeschooling, homeschooling again for the new year because we're on our 6-week break right now. It will be my 15th year of homeschooling. So I'm not new to this. I know that that year plan is likely going to change and change again and change some more, but I at least want to have something to look to so that I know at least kind of what to expect for the year. So I thought that I would share with you what we're going to be doing. So first of all, and I'll tell you what we're going to be using, which is mainly what we used last year. And I'm going to, did I say, yeah, what we're using, and I'm going to share with you how we're going to do it. So first of all, we're going to start each day at 10 o'clock a.m. And yes, I still consider us to be relaxed homeschoolers. In fact, the reason that my daughter's fiance's mother wanted me to start homeschooling her daughter was because she loves the way that we homeschool. So she is absolutely not expecting school at home, and she knows that I don't do school at home. So we're on the same page with that. So the first 6 weeks of our homeschool year and the last 6 weeks of the homeschool year are still going to be more of an almost unschooling approach. So the first 6 weeks, starting around 10, my daughter is going to be helping her future sister-in-law with language arts and math, and she's going to be doing her morning basket. And my daughter Ireland, who is 13, she's actually going to be going over to my daughter's house because I should point out that my daughter will be married by the time that she starts homeschooling her, and her house will be 4 doors away from me. So it's very close. So my 13-year-old will be headed down there to do her morning work with them. And I will be doing the same thing with my children here at the house. I'm still homeschooling 6 of my own children this year. So every morning at 10, they will work in their morning baskets and do language arts and math. Should point out though, my 2 oldest are going to be doing independent self-directed learning for the most part, plus math, just because that's what they chose to do. And I'm okay with that because they're at the age now where they can make these decisions. They know what they want. The rest of my children though will still be working more with me. So in our morning baskets, it's still going to be basically like last year's. It's a very simple morning basket. And I have to point out that a lot of times people who talk about morning baskets, they're referring to something that the whole family does together, and that's how they start their morning off. Ours is a little different. Our morning basket is their independent learning. So we put all of the things that they can do pretty much on their own in a little bin just to slowly get them started with their day. So that will include math drills and silent reading And this year I'm actually putting in, I think it's called a daily doodle. That's what it is. And so they're just going to be, I'm going to be using doodle prompts. So like for July, say 27th, they might be told to draw something like with a cactus in it. And so that's what they're going to do that day. So each day they're going to have a doodle prompt also in their morning basket. And I added that just because all of the children, including the newest member of our homeschool, they all really love drawing. So I thought that it would be a lot of fun to do that. So just those three things. So in our morning basket for the math drills, we usually just use something like basic multiplication drills or basic addition and subtraction drills, whatever it is that I feel that my children need to work the most on so that they have a mastery in that skill. So I'll actually, with the other girl, I will let her mom, decide, or they can decide together what math they want her to have in her morning basket. That's kind of just for practice, not really for learning new concepts. It's just for reinforcement. The silent reading books. Sometimes I might choose books for them according to our unit studies. Most of the time, though, they'll just be choosing their own books for their silent reading. And yeah, the doodle prompts. After that, though, they will be doing a notebooking loop because that is how I approach language arts. Instead of just doing a language arts curriculum every day, we just do a notebooking loop. So one day they might do copy work. Another day they might do notebooking, which I've had many videos about this before. They're interest-led notebooks. They choose one topic and they just research them and write about them, and they keep a notebook about it. So that's what that is. Other days in the loop, they might just do free writing journals. And then the last day of the loop, that is when they will work in some sort of language arts workbook. So my children are just, I don't even know if I brought it out. My children are just using the same workbook wherever they left off in their workbook last year, and it's Harcourt. I think it's called Harcourt Family Learning, and it's just a basic workbook. It's not a textbook. You can just pick it up at like Barnes and Noble, and I think it's like $8. But it's enough, that it will help them to understand certain things that might be a little bit harder to learn if they are just doing copy work. But it's something, again, they just do every loop. It's not something that they do every day. After the notebooking loop, they will do their math. We use CTC Math for everyone. And it's, it's nice because it's just a video that each child watches. And then they do their math problems with it. And sometimes they might choose to do more problems and sometimes they might not. I usually do sit down and watch the video with each of my children just so that I know exactly what it is that they're doing. And then that way, if they have a question, I can explain it to them. Because yeah, with the younger kids, I don't have to watch the video with them. But with the older kids, sometimes I need my memory refreshed. So it helps me to sit down and to see specifically what it is that they're doing. So all in all of that between the morning basket and the notebooking loop and the math will probably take, I'm going to say, from about an hour to about an hour and a half in the morning. So once that morning basket and the basics time is done, they're actually going to have quite a bit of time to themselves to just, play, to read, to just do basically whatever they want, just self-directed time. Because my husband, he usually wakes up because he works late. So he usually wakes up around like 11:30. So when he wakes up, I do try to be done with all of our morning work by the time that he gets up, because I like to make him coffee and sit at the table with him until he leaves for work. So, between doing that and lunch, we will probably be picking back up with our homeschool day around 1:30. And that's when Kaylin will bring over her sister-in-law and my daughter Ireland, and we will all do the rest of our schoolwork together. So the first 6 weeks, again, what I just mentioned, that's what they'll be doing in the morning. And then afternoons, it'll be mainly hiking and going to creeks, maybe visiting the nature center, sometimes taking walks around the neighborhood. And if it's rainy, it just might be things like playing games, baking, cooking, what else? Arts and crafts, just all sorts of things that whatever catches their interest. Now, those weeks in between, though, So they're the 24 weeks in between. I'm actually in the afternoon, instead of it being more of an unschooling approach for that time, I'll be adding a unit study for that, just to add a little bit more structure for the rest of the year. Because my children, I've noticed that when I give them too much self-directed learning time, they tend to do better when there's a little bit of structure. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also assuming that since my daughter's sister-in-law, it's like getting so confusing saying my daughter's fiance's sister, just the little girl, since she's been in school her whole life, so she's not used to, the homeschool routine. So I'm sure that the structure will help her as well. So in the afternoon, when we come together, though, we will all start out together doing Bible and praying. After that, we are going to do a read aloud all together. And I'm thinking I would love to reread the Percy Jackson series, or even maybe the one, what is it called? The Kane Chronicles, I think that's what it's called, the one about Egypt. I'd love to do that. I don't know if we're going to get to do that this year. I think we're going to actually start out reading Little Women, though. We'll see. But we're going to do some sort of read aloud all together. And then after that, we will jump into our unit study. And that is really what I have been spending all this time planning, like the year plan for that. Because as it stands right now, I wrote this all down. So the unit studies that we have planned for this year so far using CONUS, I should show you. And I've done several videos on CONUS, and I will link those in the description box. And these are all unit studies, tons of them. We're also going to be using volume 2, but this is volume 3. This is most of what we'll be using, but we will be using volume 2 for some of them. So anyway, so the unit studies we're going to be doing this year are Bees, Family and Church, Town and Community, The Birth of Christ, Expeditions, in which we'll be learning about Auguste Piccard. If you recognize that name, I'm very proud of you. We're going to be learning about books, basically fiction, nonfiction, the difference between fiction and telling a lie, those sorts of things, because I have to point out that these unit studies are all based on character traits. So the books unit study is actually listed under the honesty character trait. Anyway, then we will be doing a unit on Passover, the crucifixion, the resurrection, and then we will be doing just a general one on honesty. And I know that it probably sounds like really boring, those things that I just listed, but we have so many cool activities that we're planning. Like the very first day, since we're learning about bees, we're going to be going to the nature center. They have an apiary there, which is like a beehive that you can look in and you can see what the bees are doing in there. So we're going to study those bees there for a while. In some of the other units, we're going to be hiking the Appalachian Trail. We're also going to be hiking another harder trail at the DNL trail where we go a lot. We're going to be doing fishing. We're going to be going fishing, and just lots of art, lots of being outside, walking around our town, taking pictures of landmarks, making a book about our town, because as many of you know who watch my Question the Narrative videos, there's so much really cool history about our town that I am absolutely really thrilled about working that in. So while the topics themselves sound kind of boring, they're not. I am working as many hands-on activities and going places activities as I possibly can, because I don't like when children are just sitting and writing all the time, because I don't think that's how most children learn best. I think it's important that children do write, obviously, because they have to be able to communicate them and express themselves very clearly. But I don't think that it's something that we should use to rob children of their curiosity and their love for learning. We have to find, a healthy balance. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So now we've been doing the notebooking loop for quite some time. And before, we always used to have like a separate composition book for copywork. And then we had like a separate book for journaling. And then we had separate binders for each topic that they did in their notebooks. And then we also had a big binder that we used for their unit study things. And what I've decided actually that I'm going to do this year, and I'll just show you This is just some of the stuff that we do and that we've done like over the years. But what I've decided to do this year, because it never failed that last year, every morning, someone would be saying to me, I can't find my copy workbook. Mom, have you seen my journal? Mom, I don't know where my math drills are. Mom, 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 mom. There was always something missing. And so what I've decided to do is, and also now that we do have someone who is not my child doing it, and I don't want to be losing her stuff, we're going to just put everything into this binder. So I'm just going to use subject dividers, and we're going to store as much as we possibly can in here so that they don't have all of those separate books. And really, it's going to help just with the amount of space that we're using, because my house is very small, like really, really tiny. So to have all of this stuff being stored here, it's going to be much easier if we keep most of the stuff in the binder. And then even like her math drills, not just her math drills, but my children's too. But the little girl's math drills and all of that, they'll be kept over at my daughter's house. So that's on my daughter. You know, it's up to her not to lose the morning basket over there. I'm just going to have her afternoon stuff, like unit study stuff over here, just kind of mixing in with my children. That's why it's going to be really important this year that we are more organized. And I think that when you have less things, it's much easier to be more organized. So that's really, you know, what I'm hoping to do. So for those of you who don't want to just go back and look at a CONUS video that I did, just, you know, for time purposes, I'll give you a quick glimpse inside what is inside of the CONUS book in case you don't know what it is. So it's cross-curricular. Unit studies cover all subject areas. This is also multi-level. It's for grades kindergarten through 8th grade. I've actually even tweaked it and used it at times for my high schoolers. In fact, my daughter London, she will be going into 12th grade. And for 11th grade, she really got into the human anatomy unit in this because she wants to be a nurse. So she just delved right into the human anatomy stuff in this, even though it says it is for 8th grade, because it's very easy to just kind of complicate things a little bit, make them a little bit more challenging for her. And so that's what she did. But since they're cross-curricular, you know, you don't need to have like your own, like a history book and then a health book and then a science book and then a language arts book and then a math book, because it is all in here. And I have to say that even though the children will be doing a notebooking loop, which is our form of language arts, and math in the morning, some of these activities will also cover language arts and math. These activities cover language arts and math, geography, music, I'm just reading them, practical living, creative expression, reasoning, science. I know that there's history in here. It actually, there's physical education. I think it's called physical skills in here, health and safety. It's all in here. So instead of children learning things in a disconnected way, you know, for example, they might be learning about ancient Egypt in their history book. And then for science, they're going to like, I don't know, plants and animals. And instead of going from one seemingly, yeah, I already said disconnected, but something that's not really related to something else. They're learning about one topic and they're working all the subject areas into the same topic, so that not only does it flow more smoothly, but it is easier for them to remember what they're learning because it's all been connected. Because really, there is nothing in life that only covers one subject area. Everything in life covers multiple subject areas. And so I think it's really important that we approach learning that way too. So yeah, I highly recommend that you check these out. And if you are interested, again, check out my other CONUS. I always say CONUS. It's supposed to be CONUS, but I'm just in the habit of saying CONUS. I like it that way, so that's how I usually say it. But anyway, yeah, they're definitely worth the effort and the time. And you can really pick out your own activities in here. You don't need to do every single activity because you would be doing this book for 20 years if you tried to do every activity. And they tell you right in the front, they're like, don't do all the activities. Yeah, that's crazy. Just pick out the ones that you will enjoy, your children will enjoy, and just, have fun together and do that. So anyway, I think that I covered everything. But yeah, I'm super excited about this year. It's going to be a little, it's going to be, I don't want to say nerve-wracking, because it's not going to be nerve-wracking at all, but it's going to be different homeschooling someone who's not my child. And again, I have to point out that, like, my daughter Kaylin, she's the one who is basically doing most of the homeschooling with her, because we're just, because then when they do come over for all the children to work together, my daughter will still be helping with that too. So my daughter is the one who is ultimately responsible for her. It's just that I'm still the one that's planning out all the unit studies, and I even planned out what they're going to be doing at her house, just because I've been doing this so long. And my daughter she knows how we do things, and so she's just going to do things the way that I did too. So I'm still doing all the planning, but my daughter will be in charge of her sister-in-law. And yeah, I honestly can't wait to get this all started. But before that, and I have to add, I know I'm like rambling, but we have so many exciting things. So excuse me. So like in a week and a half is my daughter's bridal shower already. And remember, this is the one that she just graduated last year. So and now this year she's getting married. So her bridal shower is like in a week and a half. And then our first like homeschool week, which will be mostly unschooling, is going to be July 10th. But that week, one of my daughters will be away at camp. So we're just going to do a very light schedule. The following week, we'll all be on a family retreat together. So that will still count as school, because it's a field trip. So that will be our second week. And then the third week is my daughter's wedding, which is on a Friday. But, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of preparation and everything. So the start of our homeschool year is going to be fun but hectic. But yeah, I cannot wait. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one either here or over on Instagram. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.